Hi all, and welcome to the Refocus Your Health 6-week wellbeing program. I'm really excited to be able to launch this program with the whole of the organisation, and I really hope that you can get something out of it. So today's presentation, we're just going to do a bit of an introduction to the program and go through a bit on stress management. Now, firstly, I'll just get to the next slide. You have to bear with me. This is all new for me. I've never recorded something like this before, so I hope you enjoy it anyway. So today, this program will be 6 weeks in total. Each week we'll have a different kind of topic. Today we're going to be doing introduction and stress management. Week 2 we'll be looking at how to improve your mental fitness. Week 3 we're looking at nutrition for a healthy lifestyle. Week 4, fitness for a healthy and hopefully pain-free lifestyle. Number 5 will be weight management. Now, you might be thinking that is weight loss. It's not just weight loss. We're also going to be looking at, gaining muscle and how to maintain your weight. And it's a really good topic to cover as well. And then lastly, we'll be finishing up the program with some goal setting and a summary of the whole program. So we will be asking you to do some homework tasks. These will be for us to be able to, do the sessions a little bit easier and better for you. We can actually tailor it for you as well. Now, today's session, we'll be looking at what is well-being, what factors influence your well-being, why is it important, and what can you do to help it? And then we'll go on to some stress management and look at what is stress, what types of stress there are, and what effect that has on the body, as well as how to manage it. And then we'll finish up today, not on the recording, but we will in person do a meditation. Now, if you are listening to this on a recording, you'll get given the link to be able to go and do a meditation yourself. So, what to expect from this program? As I said, we will be asking you to do some homework tasks over the next 6 weeks, as they will assist us with the following week's content. We'll also be able to personalise and adjust the content given your individual needs. We hope that you do gain relevant knowledge in your interested areas. If you do have anything you'd like us to cover, please let us know, because we can change it as we go. And we hope that we will inspire and motivate you to work on your well-being and areas that you feel need improvement. And again, we do welcome your feedback. So, what is well-being? Well-being has a variety of definitions, and it can vary from person to person. However, it is a holistic approach to your health and happiness. It involves a combination of physical, mental, emotional, and social health factors. This includes the way you view your potential in life, can cope with stress, the ability to work productively and successfully, and are able to contribute to society or your community. So the factors that influence our well-being. As it is a holistic approach, the following factors do influence us, whether it is positive or not. So we've got physical. This is your risk of injury, ability to carry out activities in a day, ability to do things you enjoy like regular exercise or getting sufficient sleep, and also a balanced diet. Then we look at your social effects, and this is things like your relationships, your social activities, and work-life balance. Then we go to environment. So a positive, safe and clean environment will always be, conducive to a healthy, happy well-being. There's also psychological factors. So things like feeling positive about yourself, having a sense of belonging, purpose and meaning in your life, your enjoyment of daily activities and enjoying the people around you. And then lastly, we go to economic. So this is your means to a certain extent, which could involve your work productivity, whether your career is fulfilling and enjoyable, or achieving your goals each day. So, why is it important, we ask? Well, well-being can affect one's engagement in life and their success. Health is intertwined between the mental and physical side, so it makes sense that your well-being is related to and encompasses this. What can you do to help your well-being? So in a nutshell, we've got a few things here. So things like having a positive work-life balance, developing and maintaining strong relationships, including people outside of work, engage in work you find enjoyable, rewarding and provides challenges, eat wholesome and nutritious foods to give your body the right fuel and balance, participate in regular physical activity. This has incredible benefits to it, people, and have some hobbies that interest you. Other than that, you can also set yourself some goals and challenge yourself to achieve them. You can try to live in the present by not dwelling on things in the past, because that can lead to negative well-being, and consider each day as your chance to improve upon yesterday. Try to laugh each day, and also meditation can be very helpful. So that's the introduction to the program. We've kind of we've talked about well-being, but now we're going to go into the fundamental kind of topics of it now. So today we're going to look at stress management. So stress management is something that we all need to be able to do to be able to function in life. It's quite detrimental if you aren't on top of your stress. But firstly, let's just look at, what is stress? So stress is wear and tear on our minds and bodies as we cope with changes to our environment. It includes feelings of worry, tension, tiredness, anxiety, depression, anger, on edge, fear, or elated. Now, there are types of stress. So we have types of stress that are external. So this involves social, organizational, life events, daily hassles, and physical stress. So social stress can be things like rudeness, bossiness, confrontation, unpleasant situation, aggression, bullying, or harassment. Organizational can be things like deadlines, overwhelming workload, regulations. Or there's life events, so births, deaths, job loss, promotion, marital status. And then daily hassles. So daily hassles are things like traffic, oversleeping, running late, everyday problems, misplacing your keys, dropping something, sick pet, or you're out of milk or tea for that instance. So these are the things that would be an external type of stress. Then we have to look at things like internal. So internal involves things like lifestyle choices. So lifestyle choices could be things like excessive caffeine, lack of sleep, or overloaded schedule. That's internal. Then we look at other things like negative thoughts, self-criticism, over-analyzing, and pessimistic thinking. Then there is mind traps, so taking things personally, unrealistic expectations, ultimatums, or exaggeration. And then finally, the last internal kind of stress factor can be things like personality traits, so perfectionists or, say, workaholics. So when we look at positive and negative stress, it can be dependent on the situation. Positive stressors, or for other word, eustress, may include things like the upcoming wedding, holiday, or pregnancy. It increases your motivation and awareness and stimulates us to cope and excel in challenging situations, which allows an urgency and alertness that is useful. On the other hand, there is negative stress, or called distress, and this results in the full-blown stress response, which can be from a death of a family member, injury, divorce, being neglected or abused. And if it is continuous, negative stress can actually have negative outcomes on the body, and it can lead to loss of productivity, health problems, and exhaustion. So I want you now to think about how stress affects you. We have a little bit of a puzzle for our people in face-to-face. If you did get it on the email, you can have a little go with that word finder. We're looking at things that might be effects of stress and how you can cope and manage that stress. The words will come up in the presentation as we go along, so it's a bit of fun, give you something to do while we're listening to me yammer on. So now we want to look at how stress affects the body. So it has a lot of different effects, and one of the things can be on the brain, where it makes it difficult to concentrate. It can give anxiety, irritability, or mood swings, or a thing called mind fog. Then we can look at maybe cardiovascular effects, higher cholesterol, higher blood pressure, increased risk of heart attack and stroke. We can look at the joints and muscles, where there might be increased inflammation, tension, aches and pains, muscle tightness. I know I definitely myself get a bit of tightness sometimes, and I'm thinking, how is that possible? Stress has a very, very widespread effect on the body that you might not actually be aware of. Other things it can affect are things like the immune system, your skin, your gut health, and your reproductive system. It can also give you over or under eating effects, social withdrawal, loss of motivation, and difficulty sleeping. In acute situations, stress can be more things like sweating, trembling, increased heart rate and tension. But in addition to this, stress can also, do all those things. So it does have quite a negative impact. And then if it becomes chronic, it can actually be quite detrimental to your health, which can lead to conditions such as anxiety and depression and insomnia as well. So now we know what stress does to the body. We know what types of stress there are. Now we're getting to the meaty end of the presentation, the one that we're here for, how to manage your stress. So firstly, stress management starts with identifying sources of stress in your life. So this isn't as straightforward as it sounds. While it's easy to identify major stresses such as changing jobs, moving, or going through a divorce, pinpointing the sources of chronic stress can be more complicated. It's all too easy to overlook how your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviours contribute to your everyday stress levels. Sure, you may not know that you're constantly worried about work deadlines, but maybe it's your procrastination rather than the actual job demands that is causing the stress. The first thing we kind of say is start a stress journal. I know you're probably thinking, a stress journal, really? But a stress journal can help you identify the regular stresses in your life and the way to deal with them. Each time you feel stressed, keep a track of it in your journal. As you keep a daily log, you'll begin to see patterns and common themes. So write down things like what has caused your stress, make a guess if you're unsure, how you felt both physically and emotionally, how you acted in response, and what you did to make yourself feel better. And then to identify the true sources of stress, look closely at your habits, attitudes, and excuses. So, for example, would you explain away stress as a temporary thing? I just have a million things going on right now, even though you can't remember the last time you took a breather. Do you define stress as an integral part of your work, home, or home life? Say, for example, you say things are always going crazy around here, or as part of your personality. For example, I have a lot of nervous energy, that's all. Do you blame stress on other people or outside events, or view it as an entirely normal or unexceptional? So these are the things we want you to try and look at, because they're the kind of excuses and the attitudes and the habits that can actually, in turn your stress into more of a chronic thing. So while stress is an automatic response from your nervous system, some stresses arise at predictable times. Say, for example, your commute to work, a meeting with your boss, a family member gathering, for example. When handling such predictable stresses, you can either change the situation or change your reaction. When deciding which option to choose in any given scenario, it's helpful to think of the 4 A's: avoid, alter, adapt, or accept. So when we're looking at avoiding unnecessary stress. It's not healthy to avoid a stressful situation that needs to be addressed, but you may be surprised by the number of stresses in your life that you can definitely eliminate. So learn how to say no. Know your limits and stick to them. Whether in your personal or professional life, taking on more than you can handle is a surefire recipe for stress. Distinguish between the shoulds and the musts, and when possible, say no to taking on too much. Avoid people who stress you out. If someone consistently causes stress in your life, limit the amount of time you spend with that person, or just end the relationship. Take control of your environment. If the evening news makes you anxious, turn off the TV. It's as simple as that. If traffic makes you tense, take a longer but less travelled route to avoid those horrible little slow people and people that don't indicate. If you're going to the market and it is unpleasant to you, do your grocery shopping online. Find a way around it. Trim your to-do list down. Analyse your schedule. Analyse your responsibilities and daily tasks. And if you have got too much on your plate, drop tasks that aren't truly necessary to the bottom of the list, or eliminate them entirely, as they're, obviously not necessary. The next A is alter. So alter the situation. I hope I'm not talking too fast for you as well. If you are, not following along, I can send you through the outline so that you can read it word for word. Anyway, back to the presentation. So alter. Alter the situation. If you can't avoid a stressful situation, try to alter it. Often this involves changing the way you communicate and operate in your daily life. Express your feelings instead of bottling them up. If something or someone is bothering you, be more assertive and communicate your concerns in an open and respectful way. If you've got an exam to study for and your chatty roommate just got home, say up front that you only have 5 minutes to talk, and if you don't voice your feelings, resentment will build and the stress will increase. Also, be willing to compromise. When you ask someone to change their behaviour, be willing to do the same. If you're both willing to bend at least a little, you'll have a good chance of finding a happy middle ground. Also, create a balanced schedule. All work and no play is a recipe for burnout, so try and find a balance between work and family life, social activities and solitary pursuits, as well as your daily responsibilities and downtime. That's really important for trying to manage any stress that you may have. Over to the next A, we've got adapt. So adapting to the stressor. If you can't change the stressor, change yourself. You can adapt to stressful situations and regain your sense of control by changing your expectations and attitude. Reframe problems. Try to view stressful situations from a more positive perspective. I know this is hard, but trying to follow these tips will actually really help. So rather than fuming about a traffic jam, look at it as an opportunity to pause and regroup, listen to your favourite radio station perhaps, or enjoy some valuable alone time. Also important to look at the big picture, so take perspective of the stressful situation. Ask yourself, how important will it be in the long run? And I've always said, if something isn't going to bother you in a year's time, why let it bother you now? So is it really worth getting upset over now? If the answer is no, then focus your time and energy elsewhere and adjust your standards. Perfectionism is a major source of avoidable stress, so stop setting yourself up for failure by demanding perfection. Set reasonable standards for yourself and others and learn to be okay with good enough. And also practice gratitude. When stress is getting you down, take a moment to reflect on all the things you appreciate in life, including your own positive qualities and gifts. This simple strategy can help you keep things in perspective greatly. Now, the last A, which is probably one of the most important, is accept. So accepting the things you can't change. Some sources of stress are unavoidable. You can't prevent or change stresses such as the death of a loved one or a serious illness or a national recession. In such cases, the best way to cope with stress is to accept things as they are. Acceptance may be difficult, but in the long run, it's better than getting worked up over a situation you can't change. So don't try to control the uncontrollable. Many things in life are beyond our control, particularly the behaviour of other people. Rather than stressing out over them, focus on the things you can control, such as the way you choose to react to problems. Look for the upside. When facing major challenges, try to look at them as opportunities for personal growth. If your own poor choices contributed to a stressful situation, reflect on them and learn from your mistakes. Learn to forgive, as well as accepting the fact that we live in an imperfect world and that people do make mistakes. Let go of anger and resentments by freeing yourself from negative energy and forgiving and moving on. It's also important to share your feelings. Expressing what you've gone through can be very liberating, even if there's nothing you can do to alter the stressful situation. It might be good to talk to a trusted friend or make an appointment with a therapist. So they're the 4 A's. Then we can also consider some other factors to help manage your stress. We're getting on to the end of the presentation now. So some of these lifestyle choices can actually make a huge difference. So healthy eating, you might be thinking, oh yeah, healthy eating, but there's actually really researched evidence to show how that can make a difference in your life. So a well-nourished body is better prepared to cope with stress. So be mindful of what you eat. Start your day right with breakfast and keep your energy up and your mind clear with a balanced, nutritious meal throughout the day, and you'll be able to cope better. Your body will be able to cope better. Continuous, regular exercise. When you're stressed, the last thing you probably feel like doing is getting up and exercising. But physical activity is actually a huge stress reliever, and you don't have to be an athlete or spend hours in a gym to experience the benefits. Exercise releases endorphins that make you feel good, and it can also serve as a valuable distraction from your daily worries. While you get the most benefit from regular exercising for 30 minutes or more, it's okay to build up your fitness level gradually. Even very small activities can add up over the course of a day. The first step is to get yourself up and moving. So here are some easy ways to incorporate exercise into your daily schedule. Maybe try putting on some music and dancing around your house while you're just doing nothing, or take your dog for a walk. Walking or cycling to the grocery store can be a really good option as well as using the stairs at home or work rather than the elevator. Park your car in the farthest spot in the lot to make it harder for you to get into work. Longer walk means more steps. And also pair up with an exercise partner and encourage each other as you work out. Studies show that there's a huge increase in participation if there is a partner along with you. And then there's other leisure activities like playing ping pong or an activity-based video game with your kids. That can also be a really good encourager of exercise. Then we go to laughter. So laughter is a great way to help reduce stress, and this includes the ability to laugh at yourself. We all know the act of laughing actually helps your body fight stress in so many ways. Now, another one is socializing. So there is nothing more calming than spending quality time with another human being who makes you feel safe and understood. In fact, face-to-face interaction triggers a cascade of hormones that counteracts the body's defensive fight or flight response. It's nature's natural stress reliever, and as an added bonus, it also helps stave off depression and anxiety. So make it a point to connect regularly and in person with family and friends. Another one you can do is getting adequate sleep. The adequate sleep fuels your mind as well as your body, and feeling tired will increase your stress because it may cause you to think irrationally. Who here has had, under 8 hours sleep, wakes up quite stressed and quite cranky actually. So getting that 8 hours is one of the most important things you can do. And then lastly, there's other things like relaxation techniques such as yoga, meditation, deep breathing that all activate the body's relaxation response, and it encourages a state of restfulness that is the opposite of the fight or flight or mobilization stress response. As you learn and practice these techniques, your stress levels will decrease and your mind and body will become calm and centered. Now, meditation isn't something you can just do. It does take loads and loads of practice. So if you try it once, you find you couldn't get into the zone, try it again and again and again until it's finally starting to get into your mind that, you can switch off rather than thinking about 100 things at once. So it's also important to know how not to manage stress. I know there's probably so many of us out there that maybe does one of these things and, thinks it's helping, but it's really such a negative response. So having excessive caffeine and sugar, these temporary highs in caffeine and sugar they often end with a crash in mood and energy. So by reducing the amount of coffee, soft drinks, chocolate, and sugar snacks in your diet, you'll feel more relaxed and you'll even sleep better. So also tobacco and excessive alcohol or substance abuse. Self-medicating with alcohol or drugs may provide an easy escape from the stress, but the relief is only temporary. So don't avoid or mask the issue at hand. Deal with problems head-on with a clear mind and you will be so much better off for it. Another way to avoid it is saying yes to everything. Avoid scheduling things back to back or trying to fit in too much in one day. All too often we underestimate how long things will take, and having that much stuff on your schedule will just implode your brain. So try to say no more often. And as well as bottling up your emotions, so talking to people, talking to someone about your stress will help unload it from you. You might feel that you have a release from your shoulders. So remember, you need time for yourself, otherwise you're just going to go around in a self-destructive cycle. So for those joining me in person, it's time for a meditation. Otherwise, I thank you for listening to me yammer on for so long. I hope you enjoyed the session today, and if you do have any feedback, I really would welcome it, and I thank you for logging on anyway. If you are joining me next week and you would like some advice, we are going to be doing our mental fitness. So think about, something that you might want to get out of that session. If there's something you want to know for your mental health, think about it. Otherwise, I bid you good day. Thank you very much, guys.